Namaste children, it is a continuation video of the lesson 3 questions from the class 7 honeycomb. The hermit lives in a wood. What is a wood? It's an isolated area for religious purpose. So there only that hermit lives. Before he reaches the hermit's hut, leaves his horse with his bodyguard and goes alone. As the king comes near the hermit's hut, so the king requests the hermit to give the spade to help hermit. Now the king starts to dig the field. Digging the field, the king asks the 3 questions to that hermit. But the hermit didn't respond for that questions. The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. He goes on digging. When the king had dug 2 beds, he stopped and repeated his question, but hermit didn't give any answer, but stood up and stretching out his hands for the spade, but the king did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed. The king asked the hermit, if he doesn't know the answer for the 3 questions, please tell him, so that he could or he would return home. There is no problem at all. Like that, the king asked hermit. Suddenly, the hermit shouted, someone is coming. Someone is running to the hut. So like that, hermit shouted. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. The king and the hermit removed the man's cloth and found a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief, but the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. The wounded man felt better and asked for something to drink. The king hurriedly went inside the hut and brought some fresh water and gave it to him. By this time, the sun had set and the air was cool. So the king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. The king lay down on the floor and slept through the night. Can we imagine that the king is sleeping on the floor? No, never. But here, the king sleeps on the floor. After he wakes up in the morning, the bearded man asks apology to that king. That king doesn't know anything why that bearded man is asking apology to him. And that bearded man continues that he is an enemy of the king, because the king put his brother to death and seized his property, so that he planned to kill that king. So when he tried to kill that king, his bodyguards identified that bearded man and shot by the bow, so that that bearded man is wounded. But that king only saved his life. So that bearded man becomes a friend to that king. And now the king is ready to return his property. Now the king is very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily, friend of the king, and to have won him over as a friend. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him. And he promised to give back the man's property. So leaving the wounded man, the king goes out of the hut and looked around for the hermit. Before going away, he wishes once more to get answers to this question. The hermit is on his knees sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king goes up to the hermit and says, the last time I beg you to answer my questions, wise man. Like that, the king asked hermit. Hermit simply replied that already you got that answer for all the 3 questions. Don't you know that?